Hmm. Well, this is Sam Tolley. I don't generally do Facebook Live, but I've been having a hard time trying to get Facebook to post my videos. I'm thinking that maybe they're getting ready to dump me. That's life. But I've been really wondering about this 81 million. 81 million people. Did 81 million people really vote for this? Getting ready to go get a workout this morning. That's the advantages of being retired. You can do what you want to do, but you try not to lay on your butt or you get dry. I mean, fat and sloppy and bones don't move. But getting back to my point, when I was a kid growing up in Southern California, we used to have two newspapers in Pasadena. In the morning it was the Independent, and in the evening it was the Star News. And I used to read the paper, and I used to watch the news all the time, and I really believed that what I was getting was the truth. I thought when I read the newspaper or watched the evening news, the local broadcast, or whether it was the nationwide broadcast, I thought I was getting the truth. And I thought that, and actually, I felt really sorry for the people in the Soviet Union because I said, wow, they're getting Pravda and they're getting propaganda, and they don't get the truth. They just get the lies the government feeds them. I said, we're so exceptional. We're so fortunate in America that we have a news media that will tell us everything, and they won't lie to us, and they won't let people cheat us. and as I grew older, and I started looking at things, I started understanding things better. I started thinking, dang, maybe we've been getting buffaloed all along. Maybe we've been getting hosed just like everyone else. And now, during this season, after 4 years of President Trump, and now these 8 months of President Biden, I am really convinced that if the news media wasn't corrupt all along, it definitely is corrupt now. Because there is no way to believe these people. I mean, when Trump, before he even got inaugurated, they were saying that he was mentally deficient. They were saying that there's something wrong with him. I never watched CNN or MSNBC. Frankly, these days I rarely watch Fox too. But all those hosts, all these people were always talking about his cognizant disabilities, and that Trump is crazy and he's deranged and he has no business being president. Now we got this guy in here that can't even formulate a whole paragraph. That needs cheat notes just to hold a conversation. And this guy is obviously losing it. But the news media says nothing. The news media acts like, oh, well, this is the president. He's this, he's that. It's great. And I'm trying to figure out how in the world would 81 million people vote for a man that didn't campaign, that if you saw a picture of his campaigns, rallies, there might have been 20 people sitting about 10 feet apart in little circles. Whereas if you looked at the Trump campaigns, they were overflowing. People everywhere. And they used to talk this nonsense about the news media, these folks that claim, or that are supposed to be the arbitrators of truth, the referees of our government. They're supposed to just give us the facts. And all this lie about Trump was a white supremacist and he's a racist and he hates folks and all this and that other nonsense. Well, I went to a Trump rally in Arizona. And I can tell you for a fact, at that Trump rally, there were people of all genders persuaded. Well, excuse me, there's only two genders. I'm not getting into that nonsense today. There were people of all ethnic groups. all colors, everything. If you can name it, I mean, there were folks who looked like they were from parts of the world that I never seen before, but everybody got along. Everybody was happy. Everybody was having a great time. And I'm talking about 4 and 5 hours before the president showed up. This nonsense about Trump being racist, the news media perpetrated that. They, instead of being the referee, instead of being the people that are supposed to just give us the facts and let the citizens make a decision, they have worked hand in hand with the Democratic Party and perpetrating a fraud on the American people. That's another reason why I don't believe this 81 million exists. But I'm not going to get into the specifics or the so-called election that much. I want to talk about what these 81 million bought, supposedly. I just, I had friends just rambling and just denigrating Trump, boom, 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 constantly while he was president, and talking about voting for Biden. And then the record shows Trump wasn't the racist, but Biden was. Biden had a historical racism. Biden's over telling black folks, "You ain't black if you don't vote for me." I mean, but these people voted for Biden because they got this lockstep Democrat mentality. Now I want to know, how many of you Democrats like what's going on now? How many of you enjoy paying $1 more at a minimum for gas? And if you didn't understand, and here's the irony of it. Biden gets into office and cuts down the Keystone Pipeline. He cuts it off. He shuts it down. I believe he's shutting down drilling in Anwar and offshore if he can. But then he okays stopping sanctions against Russia so they can get their pipeline running. So Russia is pumping oil, making money, while the American people are being truncated, or they're not getting the oil they used to get. We were energy efficient. We had enough energy to take care of ourselves. We didn't need gas from nobody. And I read this past weekend where Biden is asking OPEC to pump more oil so we can get affordable oil. Why on earth would we need to beg OPEC to pump oil when we got our own oil? It makes no sense. Why on earth would if the news media was legitimate, they ran with that stupid Trump and Russia for over 2 years, maybe 3 years. They ran with that nonsense. And then even when it came out by, I don't know, that guy who used to be the former director of the FBI, that Trump did nothing. Nobody apologized. Nobody said they're sorry. Nobody said Trump was vindicated. They just went on to try to impeach him for something else. But then Biden gets into office, shuts down our oil, makes it easy for Russia, and nobody says a word. Trump was a Russian stooge. Biden's a Russian stooge. This stuff is stupid. And I'm supposed to believe that 81 million Americans bought into this. 81 Americans bought into higher gas prices. Everything that comes in this country to the market travels on wheels. Therefore, when the gas prices go up for the transportation industry, that means your food is going up. Everything is going up. Furniture is going up. Your supplies are going up. It's not just your personal gas. Everything goes up. They said Trump was xenophobic. They said Trump hated Mexicans and other people. And I asked my Democratic friends, I asked them a simple question. Let me ask you this. If somebody just came to your house, you and your wife, you took the kids out to dinner after school, you guys had a great time, you come home, and there's another car in your driveway. Then you go in the house, and there's this woman cooking in your kitchen, her husband sitting down on your couch, and you ask them, what the heck is going on? And they say, oh, well, we see you at a 5-bedroom house, and you ain't got but 2 kids, so we decided to come in and join you. We're only going to take up 2 bedrooms because we only have one kid. So my wife and I will take one, and our little boy will take the other one. We'll help you pay the mortgage. Don't worry about it. How many of y'all would put up with that nonsense? None of you. So why in the world should we just let people cross the border and come into our country? I heard it's been over 1 million people that have came in here since the inauguration of President Biden. Illegals. At the same time, they're running around here trying to tell folks to inject themselves with some experimental nonsense. Well, it's nonsense to me, maybe not to you. Experimental drugs to stop this pandemic when they're letting millions, over 1 million people just come through here with God knows what they're carrying. This stuff would be a comic book, if it wasn't reality. They want to stop Americans from shopping and buying stuff and doing this, that, and the other because they don't want to take this shot. They don't want to take the jab. But they're just letting anybody cross the border. This is what the Democrats are doing. Did 81 million of y'all buy that? Did 81 million of y'all decide this is what you want? Really? I mean, I talked to some of my friends, some of my Democrat friends before, and I asked them during Trump's presidency, I said, you all hate him so bad. I said, he was on TV for 11 years, a top-rated show. I don't watch reality TV. I ain't never heard none of y'all complain about him, ever. So if he was such a monster that he's been portrayed to be, how come the media never told us about it a long time ago? Wouldn't that make sense? So that begs the question. Either the media was lying to us then or the media is lying to us now. Can't you guys get that through your head? When they're just filling you full of this stuff. We had the greatest economy in my lifetime, and I believe in history, prior to the Wuhan Chinese virus pandemic. Minorities were at the highest employment rate ever. Women, ever. Black folks, ever. But the news media, they didn't say nothing about it. They kept it down. Because the news media is lockstep with the Democratic Party. The news media is their propaganda arm. The news media is Joseph Goebbels, or whatever the heck his name was, the guy that was running with Hitler. Because the whole idea is to keep us under control. The thing that Trump did, the thing that he did that was unforgivable, was he showed these folks that came in there that's been in Washington for 20, 30, 40 years until they die. Like McCain and Byrd and all the rest of them. Somebody that came in there that knew what they had to do and did it for the American people. See, the game is this. The game is the folks going to Washington that want to talk about, well, we want to help you, and we're here for the American people, and we're trying to get this stuff done. The key word is trying. Trump came in there and did it. So he blew the mask off of them trying. He blew the nonsense off of the swamp. He could see if they really wanted to help the American people, they could have helped the American people. He did it, and he did it with the whole Democratic Party against him and half the rhinos against him. He did it with the courts against. He was doing it by himself with just a few folks. Can you imagine what he could have accomplished if he had a Senate and a Congress behind him trying to really work for the American people? Can you imagine that? That would have been something else, wouldn't it? I mean, with the economy that he made happen, we almost had the wall finished. And by the way, the folks just coming across the border aren't just people trying to have a better life. You got sex traffickers coming across the border. You got drug dealers coming across the border. You got, by and large, possible terrorists coming across the border. They don't talk about that crap. What does the Biden administration say? They say now that the greatest threat to America is domestic terrorism, white supremacy. This is what they say. Do you buy into that? Do you believe that? I mean, the same folks that tell us that this is the greatest threat want us to give up our guns. They want us to give up our guns. They talk about how they love minorities too, by the way. And they want to defund the police. Although now, many of them are telling the lie that it was Republicans who wanted to defund the police. Anybody with any common sense and pay attention to anything knows that's all a bunch of crap. If these folks really care about the American people, they wouldn't try to give up our. They want to give up. See, they want us to give up our guns because in every totalitarian country, before they can just completely abuse the people, they have to disarm them. They disarm Japan. They disarm Germany. They disarm Russia. They disarm China. All of them. Venezuela. We have more guns in private citizens' hands than we have private citizens right now. So if the American people wanted to go off, we could have went off a long time ago. And I don't think that the American people are going to give up their guns. I don't even think Democrats want to give up their guns. But if you keep fooling around voting for folks like Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and all these jokers that really don't care about the American people, all they care about is power, you're going to give up something. I mean, we're giving up stuff all the time over nonsense. So they want us to, they want to defund the police. They want to let all the illegals come in that want to come in. They want to tax the heck out of all of us. And they want to try to have people sucking on that gigantic governmental mammary gland. Look, the only way that you can be free is to be weaned off the government, is to take care of yourself, and don't look for other folks to take care of you. That's it. I know I went on a tangent. I went all over the place. It's been a while since I've been on Facebook. And like I said, they're stopping me from making videos for some reason. Every time I try, it goes sideways. So I think I'll just have to start going live more often. But did 81 million people really buy into this nonsense? And now, on top of all that, all the blood that we've spent in Afghanistan, we're running out of there with our tails between our legs like we did in Saigon in 1975. Leaving folks to die, get raped, brutalized by the Taliban. They always talk that Me Too, they care about women. Democrats don't care about women. They care about power. They care about two things, actually, power and poverty, to keep themselves in power and to keep the people in poverty. But with the notion that they're trying to help the people. Trying. Just like with Ice Cube was trying to talk to the Biden people before the election and the Trump people, because whatever you think about him, he wanted to help black folks. He had an idea, whether it's good or bad, that's here or there. Trump people talked to him. Biden people said, we'll talk to you after the election. Have they talked to Cube yet? I don't think so. Yeah. They don't need to talk to him now. Now they got the power. They can do what they want to do. All that stuff was smoke and mirrors. All this stuff is smoke and mirrors. You know, just like all that talk about reparations, which I think is nonsense on the face of it, but you don't hear them talking about that either. They're going to say anything that can get them what they want to get, and then they'll move on to something else. And as long as people don't hold them accountable to what they say, and by the way, that means hold everybody accountable. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, I don't care who you are, but hold them accountable. The thing about Trump was he did, or he was trying to do, what he said he was going to do, and that's dangerous. Like I said, he proved the stuff could really get done for the American people if you want it done. The swamp really doesn't want it done. The swamp wants to keep its power. And that goes for rhinos on the other side, too. They just want to keep their power, keep control. I mean, these people, one of the largest donors of the Democratic Party is the teachers union. They got these failing schools all over America. But the teachers stay in power. And these jokers in Washington, they put their kids in private schools. They don't put their kids in these failing public schools. They're not stupid. That's why they're getting paid from us, and we pay all their expenses while they do nothing and get their kids educated so their kids can take over and be the new lords over us when they get too old and die. And see, Trump exposed that mess when he was getting ready. He wanted school choice. He wanted the people to be able to put their kids or let the money follow the kid. Now, what's wrong with that? What person whose kid is in a dilapidated school, a non-functional school, a school with a bunch of illegals in it that are sucking up resources, what person wouldn't want to be able to put their kid in a better school? I mean, I'll put it to you this way. You go to a meat market and you buy you some meat, right? You want to feed your family. So you go in there and you get you a piece of meat, you come home and you cook it. That meat's rancid or the meat's nasty or whatever. You're not going back to that meat market. You're done with them people. You're going to go find you a meat market with some good meat. You spend your money, you want good meat. Why would you settle for a jive time school that's not going to educate your child if you have a choice? Vouchers are a choice. They want to give folks a choice. Not the Democrats. They want to keep you locked in to those failing schools and don't make them accountable. Look, if people have a choice, the schools have a choice too. They can either start performing, excuse me, and survive, or they can crash and burn and die. Just like that bad meat market. We got to start thinking, people. We got to start thinking intellectually. We got to start thinking with common sense. These are not major things that are hard to figure out. What we have to figure out is to quit letting people buffalo us, bamboozle us, make fools of us, denigrate us, or try to intimidate us. That's what we got to do. 81 million of y'all, I'm supposed to believe. 81 million. 81 million. I used to see Trump parades, thousands of cars going up and down the street, or hundreds of boats. People, rallies overflowing. And this guy, Mr. Biden, who was sitting in his basement, comes out once in a while, says a few words, mumbles, stumbles, fumbles, and I'm supposed to think that he got 81 million votes. American people got to wake up and demand accountability. We had a taste of what it would be like if somebody really cared about this country. And that scared those folks in Washington. And they don't want us to get that taste again. A taste of somebody really trying to help the American people. He didn't need the money. He didn't need the money. He didn't need the aggravation. And as quiet as kept, you look back at history. Before Trump decided to run for president, everybody liked him. All those jokers that lambasted him and talked about him loved him. You can see photos of him with just about everyone that slammed him. But see, he made the mistake of deciding that he was really going to try to help the American people. That he wasn't going to pretend, but really try. And so for that, they had to try to destroy him and bring us a savior that have brought us back to poverty, begging OPEC for oil, making us look weak internationally, and rising prices. Welcome to Joe's America. Well, like I said, I was going to get a workout, so now it's time for me to get this carcass moving and try to get some work done. This is Sam Talley. I'm out.